living legend, company changing, 4 deep, motivated, Bill Orender.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you. Well, thank you. You know, I woke up one day several years ago and said, you know, when I get a certain level, I'm just going to start dressing the way I want to dress. And so this is the way I want to dress. And I mean that's going to happen to you one day. That you can do what you want to do, dress the way you want to dress. No one's going to mandate to you what you can and can't do here. And it's truly my pleasure to be here and share with you how my life changed and how it got better because someone introduced some information to me that I didn't know about. I didn't know existed. And I got my start many, many years ago. I'm from the south side of Chicago originally, born and raised, and Carol's from Springfield, Illinois, and I flunked out of college a couple of times. And so I went to Eastern Illinois University, who's going to be represented in the Super Bowl by Garofalo, the quarterback, and Shanahan, the coach. His father went to Eastern. Sean Payton down in New Orleans went to Eastern. Tony Romo went to Eastern, and some of you older folks, Burl Ives, Jerry Van Dyke, just a few. Yeah. So the rest of you probably don't know who Burl Ives is.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Thank you, the one who does. And you know, I did all the things I thought I should do that were right. Who wants to make mistakes and wake up age down the road and say, well, that one didn't work? And so I went to college, and Carol and I met in school and got married right afterwards and went to work for a steel company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that's when the steel industry was king. It was great, and lots of steel mills all over the country. And that's before foreign imports came in. That's when the automotive companies were started buying steel from the foreign steel companies. And then they said, buy American, but they were buying their steel from foreign manufacturers. Mm-hmm. And then now it's what? They start having their fair share come in, and the foreign manufacturers now are selling the cars too. So, you know, I worked at the steel company, and I don't know what it was. I had this thing that I don't know where I got it from. My mom and dad both were factory workers. I didn't want to have anybody's thumb on me. And I just kept thinking that, yeah, because I remember going into my boss and asking for a raise. I thought, that's what you do to get more money. You ask for a raise. And then he politely told me my income was not based on my effort. My income was based on what the steel workers negotiated. I had no control of my income. I had no control on my promotability. Because unless the steel industry was doing very, very well and exploding, which it wasn't, I couldn't get promoted. So my future was limited, not due to me, but by all the circumstances around me. And wonderfully, they transferred me down to Atlanta, Georgia. And I'd never been to Atlanta before. I was in the Army in Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia. And I really liked the South. And I thought, you know, if I ever get a chance to go down here, I will. And sure enough, they transferred us down there. But I knew I didn't want to be at the steel company for the rest of my life. But I knew if I didn't start looking around and making some changes, I would be there for the rest of my life. You know how that works. And so, but when you ever look at want ads, if there is such a thing anymore, and it goes from the frying pan into the fire, I kept thinking there's got to be a better way. But everything I looked at something, it was just the same thing, just a different name on the company. And so a woman named Virginia Carter, who I'd met socially, gave me a call. I had had some debt in my life, and the surprising thing was debt never bothered me. I bought a life insurance policy from an agent right after I got married, my mother's life insurance agent with Prudential. And I got the credit cards out, and debt never bothered me. So when people complain, you know, I was up to my eyeballs in debt, I was, but I didn't even know it. That's how ignorant I was. And we're going to hear talk a lot tonight about financial illiteracy and how it's rampant in America. And 80% of everybody you meet is financially illiterate, and they're making decisions based on that illiteracy, and those decisions are always wrong. And so Virginia called me up one day, and it's interesting, the words she used to get me interested. See, you don't get somebody interested, you pique their interest. You say something, and if it's there, they're interested, and if it's not there, no matter what you say, they're not going to listen to you. She said to me, I'm looking for people that want to make between $500 and $1,000 a month part-time, and maybe if they really like it, $50,000 to $100,000 a year full-time. Now, if someone offers you, I was making $13,000 a year full-time with the steel company. Now that's like $38,000 today. But anyone says you can make more money, who is against that? Because don't you want to make, isn't that the reason you do about everything you do? Go to college, you work hard to get a promotion to what? Get more money. Because that's an indication of how you're doing in life, for the most part. And so she invited me down to a Denny's restaurant. And Denny's, it's not the place you go to for great dinners, so I went there for lunch. By the way, I heard this the other day, it was kind of funny. You know how they give you a free meal on your birthday? And if you go to Denny's to celebrate your birthday because you get a free meal, your life sucks. So I remember going there like it was yesterday, and no matter what she was going to say, I was going to tell her I'm not interested. I already made up my mind. The answer was no, no matter what the question was. Now, I wasn't happy where I was, but I didn't hate where I was. I just kept waiting for it to get better. Do you ever do that? Do you ever say to yourself, how long have you been waiting for it to get better, and does it get any better? It never gets better, waiting for it. So I walked in the restaurant, and I sat at the booth where she was, and she's very cordial. You know, some of you know Virginia. She'll be gone 10 years this June 18th. And she started talking, and I was one of those people, I was being polite, but I was being dismissive of her and what she was saying. Well, Virginia has two parts to her. Businesswoman, Virginia, and she was a mother of 4. And you ever been with a mother that has had enough? Like, right? She just gives you the look, mother, right? Like my mother used to do. My sister was dumb. She didn't see the look. So she got it. I got the look. I'm straightened up. Even to this day, she doesn't get it. And so I was talking, you know, she, listen, Virginia, I'm glad it's for you, blah, blah. She said, Bill, let's get right down to it. How much money did you make last year? And I remember, like it was yesterday, the words coming off my tongue saying, Virginia, money is not that important to me. In other words, we have got a list of myths that we pull out to protect ourselves so we can stay where we're at, but they don't work. And she said, Bill, if I can show you how to make $50,000 to $100,000 a year, second year here, will you start listening? Now, again, who doesn't want to make more money and have more success in life and make your life better? And so I started listening to her, and I don't remember what she said, but it was interesting how I was being taken advantage of by the banks and the insurance companies, and I didn't even know it, because that's called illiteracy. When you're ignorant and you get taken advantage of, not because they're that kind of people, but because your ignorance allows them to. You're prey for the banks and the insurance companies and credit card companies and all that. So I remember I joined the company, and you ain't going to believe what happened my first month. This is going to shock you. Nothing happened my first month. When I came into primary, I made money hand over fist. It was the greatest, easiest thing. Nope, nothing happened. Why? Because I'm like the guy who joined a health club and never went. Then wonder why I didn't lose any weight. See, and so a wonderful, wonderful, blessed thing happened to me, because not all blessings are good at that moment. See, I owed the world $17,000. Of the $17,000, that's like, 35, 40,000 today. And of that $4,000, I owed my wife's uncle. And so when you owe relative, different story than owing Visa. And I was supposed to pay him back in a year, and he was calling for the money. And I didn't have it because someone was on strike. Someone was always on strike. Again, I was $17,000 in debt, $4,000 to my wife's uncle. And guess what I was doing on a Saturday afternoon? Washing my car. You go, what's wrong with that? See the problem? See, isn't it amazing? If you have any debt, what should you be doing? Working long, hard, nights, weekends, Sundays, get out of debt. I always like to tell Christian people, how much debt does God want you to have? But see, that's one of those we don't choose to talk about, right? And so I got the message very clear when Carol yelled down from the upward window. We were on the second floor. Uncle Bill's on the phone, and my heart sunk. Oh, I had to face the music. And so I had my excuses. I was ready, but I was so embarrassed that I had let him down. Men need respect. But it's amazing how few men are willing to do things that earn them respect, but they want respect. And I wanted respect, and I knew I was about to get it from him. The wrong kind of respect. So I had to tell him the bad news, and I felt about this small. I'd let him down. I let my wife down. Let myself down. Because I told him I would, but I used excuses why I didn't. And eventually, we started accepting excuses for our life. Something moved in me. I don't know about you. Maybe tonight won't move you. But eventually, some event is going to happen, and we call them the torturers, are going to come into your life and make your life miserable because you're sitting there doing nothing, waiting for it to get better, like I was. And so I called Virginia Carter up, and I said, I'm ready to go to work. Because I was satisfied with my life at that point. After that phone call, I was dissatisfied, and I was willing to go to work. I called her up. I said, I want to go to work. I want to make some money. And I changed my attitude about money really quick. And so she said, put me in front of 2 people a night, every night for the next 2 weeks, and I did. We generated 14 clients, recruited 3 to 4 people. My life has never been the same since. Within 6 weeks of getting serious, I paid my wife uncle back $4,000. How do you think I felt about myself? Great. No one ever feels good about themselves when they get statements in the mail saying you owe. Nobody. And so I wiped that one out of my life. I liked the feeling so much. It was a positive addiction. I started making money, and I kept paying off bills. Loved make the money, pay off bills. Make money, pay off bills, because I was making the people's lives that I was helping better. So their life was better, my life got better, and I got out of debt. Within 6 months, that $17,000 was down to 0. Now I can't express to you the joy. I was still making money, but now that money was going into mutual funds. I never had something like that happen overnight, from debt to mutual fund, increasing my net worth instead of digging a hole in deeper financially. Well, I went full-time, and I remember I went to my boss. Don't you hate that word, boss? Job, boss. It just doesn't sit right with me. And I went in and I gave him my 2 weeks' notice. He said, Bill, thanks a lot, but we'll have your replacement in Monday. And go home, get a bucket, fill it with water, stick your fist in that bucket, pull the fist out. As long as that hole remains in that bucket of water, that's as long as we're going to miss you. Bill, that's a wake-up call in life, Bill, not here. Wake-up call in life. Okay, Kobe Bryant, right? Within 6 weeks, we'll forget all about Kobe Bryant, go on with our lives. Because why? That's life, right? And so I went full-time, and when I went full-time, I was serious. I work. I'm a worker. I asked Virginia what to do. She told me what to do, and I did exactly that. And my first year I made $56,000, just like she said. Ain't that something? Yeah. And then it took me several years to go RVP. My first year as an RVP, I made $180,000. Now, $180,000, is that a lot of money today? Yeah. Back then? So we had $1 million earners back then in today's dollars. Yeah. My second year as an RVP, I made $240,000. My third year, I made $300,000 after going to Dallas where I knew no one. See, that is not so much a compliment to me because I took responsibility for my life. But you have to look at it as we have a system allows anybody who chooses to want a better life to have that better life. It's available to everybody. And we don't care what your degree is. We don't care about your age. We don't care what side of the tracks you were born on. We don't care if you went to Michigan or Michigan State or you didn't go to college at all. We don't care. Isn't that wonderful to hear? Yes. There's no requirements here other than can't have a felony. So, you know, if you had a felony and you want to get up and leave, we understand. No one leaves after that, right? And you have to have a GED. That's America, isn't it? Yep. That is America in my mind. So what is it that we do? How do we serve people? You have to understand that all business is created and exists to solve problems. If there is a business, and I am fascinated by businesses because they exist to make somebody's life better. You see, you know, next time you get a hamburger, just think where all that came from. Just think about it for a second. When you have a cup of coffee tomorrow morning, just think all that went on for you to get a cup of coffee. The grower in Brazil, wherever it was, right? Harvested, planted, did this, did that, harvested, shipped it on a boat, came here, went to a roasting station, blah, blah, and for you to have a cup of coffee, and you're not even thinking twice about it. Think about a hamburger. And who had to die for you to get that hamburger? And the bun, and the sesame seeds even, and the mustard, and the ketchup, and the pickles, and the onions, and wow. That's a lot goes into that. You know what? Those are all businesses that were created so you can have your hamburger and be fed. So all business exists to make somebody's life better, and you make people's lives better by solving their problem. If you don't have a problem, a business doesn't exist. So when you see Sam's Heating and Air Conditioning going down the street, where do you think he's going? To solve somebody's problem. Joe's Plumbing, there to solve somebody's problem. When you see a Primerica representative driving down the street, they're going to solve somebody's problem. We don't sell. We're not in sales. We don't make sales. We solve problems. And so we have to understand that all Americans have financial problems that they don't even know they've got. Because you're born in a money game, you're living in a money game, you're going to die in a money game, yet no one ever taught you how to play the game. Think about your education regarding money and finance. Think about how many classes, and I'll ask you to raise your hand in a second, has anybody here in high school ever had a class on money and finance? What was your class, sir?
Business and finance.
What about personal finance?
Personal finance.
And what did you learn from it?
I'm currently learning it right now.
See? But yet, when he gets out of high school, he's going to forget all that crap, right? Because he's going to get in the real world, and because you learn that stuff by mistakes. Anybody here think about it? Don't raise your hand. Ever read a book about money, personal finance? We've never read a book. We've never had a class, and we're thrown into the world saying, "Go figure it out." Yep. Then you make every conceivable mistake, like I did. Bought the wrong kind of life insurance. Took loans out, used credit cards, did every conceivable wrong thing because I didn't know. And I didn't have a guide to teach me.
Nobody taught you.
No one taught me. And so, understand, we make people's lives better by the information we give them, and everybody is financially illiterate. Just ask yourself a question on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you know about personal money and personal finance? Think about it. If you've never had a class, haven't read a book, it's got to be 0. Yet we go through life thinking, I'm ignorant. And if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. What you don't know one day is going to hurt you. But when it comes to money and finance, it's amazing to me how we know how to work computers, but we don't know how to work money and finance. And so our business is a business of solving people's problems, and the way we do it is with this book. See, our belief and our knowledge and our experience is that 80% of all Americans have their head in a financial sand like Bill Orender did. 80%. We give credit for the other 20, but probably 10%, half of those don't know, they just say they do. But let's just say 80%. That means 8 out of every 10 adults are making financial mistakes that will come back to hurt them down the road, because ignorance is not bliss. Not when it comes to money. And the math is there. In America today, I'm going to show you some math numbers. Just think about this way. Who doesn't need to read a book about personal money and personal finance? Who doesn't need to read it? Everybody in your family needs to read it, right? Everyone you went to school with, everybody in your church, everybody you meet, everybody in your group. They're financial illiterate. We had a situation that's kind of ugly, where one of our guys sat down with a woman 65 years old. And she's in horrible, horrible financial stress in her life. Every financial mistake that could be made, she made it because of her financial illiteracy. And in the course of discussing this with her, the rep said, "Are you a relative to this man?" "Well, yeah, that's my brother." "Well, yeah, he's not my client, but I met with him. He is my client now. He's been a client of Primerica's for 30 years, and he is so well off, and he did everything we told him to do." How do you think she felt?
Angry.
Why would she be angry? Why didn't he tell me? You know what it was? I didn't think you'd be interested. See, that's the state of affairs. Even if people are financially together, they don't let anybody else know. They're okay, they're going to heaven financially, the other one's going to hell. That's your problem. So unless they're part of our Primerica system, they are not telling their friends, neighbors, and relatives on how to do better financially. So we use this book, and the way we do it is very simply. We ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your knowledge in your literacy regarding money and finance? What do you think you're going to say? Anybody here in Primerica? Raise your hand. If you're in Primerica, do me a favor, smile at me, nod your head. Some of you hallelujahs. Because you Primerica people are stone-faced. And I understand that. But I need your help. Right? Thank you very much, Primerica people. There you go. Thank you, Eric. Larry, give me, all right, give me some all right, thank you. Woo. I feel like I'm at a Baptist church, right? Thank you. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Presbyterian, the frozen chosen. Oh, come on now. Come on. I know there's no Presbyterians up here, so I'm good. See, what we do is we change their life with the book. And no one else is doing it, by the way. If you went home tonight and said, I'm going to go talk to somebody who can change my life financially, and it says Sunday night, where would you go Monday? Banks? Their job is to lend you money. And lend all, and stack you up with debt? Are you going to go to a stockbroker? No, he's not going to talk to you. Why? You don't have enough money. You're going to talk to a CPA. They'll help you with your accounting. Where else are you going to go? Think about it and realize how powerful we are now. Because no one else is talking to our people. No one else is talking to your family. And we got a powerful book that if you read this book, you'll never make another financial mistake in your life. In fact, the book has a warning label on it. It says this, warning, financial illiteracy is dangerous. Are you financially literate? They have to make the decision. If they say, no, I'm not financially literate, that doesn't mean they have all the information in this book now. No. Just because you think you're okay doesn't make you mean you're okay.
Right.
The guy jumps from a 40-story building. He's down to the 20th floor. Guy yells out, how's it going? He said, so far so good. He's okay for now.
For the moment.
They're okay for now. And so we are the only company passing out this book. We're the only hierarchy really passing out this book. And I want to make sure that people understand why you're here tonight. There's two things that everybody seeks in life. And it's called freedom, but there's two parts to it. Everybody wants freedom. We don't even understand freedom because we've never been without it. And until you've been without it, you don't understand it. None of us do. But the concept of freedom is two words. If you want freedom, you have to have freedom of time and freedom of money. And those two things cannot be found anyplace else other than this room tonight. You cannot go any place and say, I want freedom of time and money. Think about it. Does the doctor have freedom of money? Freedom of money, yeah. Does he have freedom of time? A dentist, freedom of money. Not really, because he can only work so many hours a day, right? But he doesn't have freedom of time. School teachers, they have plenty of time. They do, don't get me wrong. They get 3 months off. They get 2 weeks off at Christmas, a week off spring break. They got about 4 months off. And so, but they don't have freedom of money. They have time, but no money. See, when you want freedom of money, you have to give up freedom of time. To make more money, you got to give up more time. And when you want freedom of time, you got to give up the money. Here, we give both of them. You get both of those two right here. And I'll show you, my whole purpose tonight is to show you how you can have that rare combination of freedom of all the money you want to make, and the more money you make, the more time you have. So if you leave here today and say, this looks good, but I don't have the time, we messed up. This doesn't require time. It requires time for a period of time, but not forever. Because most people think, I want to make more money, but I got to give more time. No. Just watch and wait. You'll see what I'm talking about. But the first thing you have to look at is, we solve people's problems financially. Now, what are the problems we solve? It looks like this. People have two major problems in life here. One is dying too soon, and the other one is living too long. Everybody wants to live a long, great life. But when do they run out of money? And all we have to do is ask a person to give us an indication whether or not they are financially illiterate. Illiterate is not a bad word, just that means you just don't know.
Right.
No one ever told you. If I were to ask you, when do you plan to retire, right? What are most people going to say? 65. That means they are financially illiterate.
Or they're not able to retire. They'll never have enough.
Because retirement is not an age anymore. That's an old pension program number. Now it's when you have enough money put away so you can live off that money, then you can retire. Now we know for a fact that 85% of all Americans will never have enough money put away. Never. Because they're not putting enough money away. And I'll show you why in a few seconds. That's why we're the largest individual marketers of mutual funds in the United States. Now, isn't it sad? I was 29 years old. I'd heard of mutual funds, studied mutual funds in college as one of the investment vehicles like stocks and bonds in my business finance classes. But I never knew anyone that had a mutual fund. I didn't know where to get a mutual fund. They didn't have 401ks when I was growing up. And even if you have a 401k, anybody here have a 401k? How did you decide where to put your 401k money? They told you, right? Where did they tell you to put it?
Bonds. Give it to them.
Give it to them, but where did they tell you to put it? Which specific area? They didn't, because they don't want to be sued.
That's right, that's right.
So which one do you pick the most conservative?
Yep.
The wrong one. Because you don't get any guidance, do you?
That's right.
That's why most people wake up, they made that financial mistake. Another financial mistake is when people put money in a 401k and then they lose their jobs, and what do? They pull all the money out and they spend the money. They have to pay their taxes plus a 10% penalty on it. And then, you know how many people, 50% of all Americans, don't even put money into a 401k. When the company matches, they're not even putting money in.
Yeah.
Financial illiteracy. And by the way, only 35% of all Americans have access to a 401k. So not everyone has a 401k. Only 35% of all Americans even have group life insurance. So it's not everybody. Our job is to get you the hundreds of thousands of dollars you need so that when you reach that age, no one's got their thumb on you financially. Because I want you to, when you go home, just take a quick glance, go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and say to yourself, this is as good as it's going to get. When you get older, you don't have less wrinkles, less gray hair,
Less hair.
skinnier, right? Boy, you probably America is a tough crowd. Dang. Man, I feel like I'm in front of a bunch of New Yorkers, being from the South, right? We're the largest individual marketers of mutual funds in the United States because that is the only place people can get the high enough returns with a little bit of money on a monthly basis so they can have some financial independence down the road. So we market mutual funds. It's important to let people know what we do. The second thing to do, again, 85% of all Americans cannot retire. Well, I think I can. Where's the math behind it? Well, I just feel good about it. I'm getting on that plane tomorrow, and I'm not going to ask him, how do you feel about this plane? I want to know what? Well, I looked at the gas, we're loaded. I looked at all the mechanics, all the matrices, all the math is that we're going. I want to hear the math. I don't want to hear, I feel good. What's takeoff speed? Whenever I feel like it, I just kind of pull up. That's how people live their life. 85% of all Americans are not properly protected from a life insurance standpoint. Let me explain something to you quickly. We're trying to eliminate the word life insurance from our vocabularies because life insurance doesn't really explain it correctly. Because when people think life insurance, they think much like automobile insurance. You wreck your car with automobile insurance, they give you a new car. Your house burns down with homeowners, they give you a new home. You have computer insurance, you lose your computer, they give you a new computer. You die, we don't give you a new life. So it's really income protection insurance. It's there to replace, we give you new money to replace your income lost, right? Lost life, lost income. And so right now, 85% of all Americans are grossly underinsured by a minimum of $240,000 to $400,000 per family. Well, I got group. The average group is what? Less than 50,000.
Yep.
Like we tell people, with the amount of life insurance you have on your income protection insurance, you don't plan to be dead very long, do you? Because, as an example, when I was growing up, a lot of guys went to high school, college, and ended up selling life insurance for a living. Does anybody in this room outside Primerica know of someone that sells life insurance exclusively for a living? One, two, who's he work for?
Western Southern.
Great, sir. Who's your friend that sells life insurance?
His whole life.
Well, again, there's 3 or 4 of them, and there's 100 people in a room. Got the point? No one's doing it. And so if no one's helping people solve their life insurance problem, right or wrong, whole life or term, they're not being protected properly because there's no one out there doing it. So people are not buying life insurance because they don't know where to go get it. They don't go online to get it. And so 85% of all Americans are not properly protected with life insurance. So what does that tell you? Is that good news or bad news? Oh, not bad. If you understand solving people's problems yields you a lot of money, is that a problem that needs to be solved? Yes. Yes. And guess what's going to happen if you build something that solves those problems? You make a lot of money. Yes. So what happens is our main competition is a company that everybody knows. And it's called Starbucks. Primerica people, thank you. This is work. Man. Yeah, even you. Are you in Primerica? You're bad too. I mean, thank you. By the way, they're changing the name of Starbucks to $6. Because why? When you walk in there, what do they want? $6. Thank you. You're doing good. You get an A. My wife's going to say, how'd it go today? I said, I feel like, tough crowd today. Tough crowd, right? Thank you. You get no respect, right? So what do we do with this? $6 a day. Is that going to kill you? If you gave up your Starbucks, which you don't have to, would it kill you? No. What value does Starbucks give you for more than 20 minutes? Nothing. See the point I'm making? Yeah. Watch this. This is the miracle of our system and the value that we bring. We take $3 a day and put it in a mutual fund. You'll have $800,000 to retire on. Go ahead. Ooh, wow, whoa. Yes, sir.
When do you start that? What interest rate?
In your 830. It's not interest rate. We don't have interest rate. We have return. And it's starting at age 30. Right? Start at age 30. Start later, it's less. Start earlier, it's more. Right? So understand that. But that gives you at least around, it might be 600, might be 500, but sure to heck a lot more than Starbucks is going to return. Got the point? We take the other $3 and we give him $300,000 of protection on his life, income protection, and $200,000 on her life for $3 a day or more. Make like $500, depends upon the age, right? So we're not changing their life so you can never have another Starbucks again. This is potato chip money. This is Coca-Cola money. This is, pardon me, Roku, Hulu, Netflix, Prime money, right? These are pennies and nickels and dimes a day. This is pocket change money. No one thinks $6 a day is a lot of money. My granddaughter and I, it's amazing. Every Monday we go pottery. I buy her lunch at McDonald's, then we go, and that's probably like $4 for her. Then we go pottery painting, and that's generally about between $18 to $30, depending upon if she paints 1 or 2 pieces. But she's got to get a snack too. And that's always around $6. And then we go get ice cream afterwards for $6. So that is about a $30 or $40 afternoon every week. You see, the nickels and dimes and the quarters do add up when you put them into something that brings you value down the road. So we bring value to people and solve their problems when they don't even know they have a problem.
This is true.
And so, again, getting back to who doesn't need our services. You got to ask, who doesn't have a problem? Name one person on this planet that you know of that doesn't have a problem financially that needs to be solved. Well, I know a guy right now, he retired from General Motors, and he's got $500,000 in an old 401k. He's got a problem. We can roll that over. Well, I know a guy right now, he just inherited $500,000 from his parents. He needs to invest that. And guess what's happening? People are having children constantly, and that's new people coming into the market all the time. All the time. You know, 1986, the first 401k was sold. 1986. 34 years ago. Today, right now, there's $1.5 trillion a year moving from 401ks to mutual funds that we can roll. Now put that into perspective. Our national debt every year is $1.5 trillion. The total student loans, $1.5 trillion. Let me give you an idea of what $1 trillion is. If you had $1 million home, a house that's worth $1 million, and you had 1 million of them, that's $1 trillion.
Wow.
Thank you. It's coming. It's coming. I know it's coming. The point I'm making is, guess who's going to get all that money? We are. Because why? This client here will have a sister, a brother, a father, an uncle. They'll refer us to him. 2 years ago, we used to do, maybe five years ago, our company used to do $1 million transaction once a year, where we got $1 million from a customer to invest for them. And now we have at least 2 of those a day.
Oh,
What does that mean? There's so much out there. If you want to get wealthy and serve people to make sure you can get wealthy, there's only one industry you can get into. That's right, this one right here. The industry. Tell me your industry, and I'll tell you how your life is going to turn out. Steel people. They don't make steel in America like they used to. Carbon steel. It's all foreign now. They make specialty steel, but all the carbon stuff is gone. All foreign. Why? Wrong industry. You know, I was just thinking the other day, 20 years ago, if you said, I'm going to get in the taxi cab business, it's always going to be there.
no, not anymore. Not anymore.
Isn't that something? Well, it's gone. It's now Uber. I never take a taxi anymore. I always take Uber. Isn't that something? It's gone. Name one industry that's always going to be there. This one right here.
Money. That's
The financial industry will always be there to take care of you. So people have 3 problems to begin with. Number 1, financial illiteracy is a problem that must be addressed. You cannot stick your head in the sand saying, I don't know, and that's okay. Can't do it. We solve that with our book. And what do? You call somebody up and say, I got a book you need to read. I'm coming over. Because if they're financially illiterate, they're going to be pounding on your door down the road to live with you. Because you aren't financially illiterate, right? The second problem is dying too soon. Third problem is living too long. Now we come to the fourth problem. The fourth problem is, again, the whole goal here is you want time and you want money. Where else can you get it? There's a man named J. Paul Getty. J. Paul Getty, a famous oil man, said instead of having 100% of your income come off of you, it's better to have 1% coming off 100 or more people. See, this wasn't taught to me when I was growing up. This wasn't taught to me when I was in business school. All I ever knew was your kids are not in school to be educated. Your kids are going to school to be indoctrinated to somebody's way of thinking, and it's probably not yours. And when it comes to the 100% off one, ever since I can remember, I had to go to school and get good grades because why? I had to go to college. Because why? Because you want to get a good job, don't you? With good pension, good benefits, good job. And I pitied the people that didn't go to college. But you know what I found out later? They didn't have any student loans. They started pitying me. But I didn't have any student loans, so I was good. You know why people take out student loans? A basic financial illiteracy mistake. 80% of people with student loans regret that they have them. There's $1.5 trillion in student loans out there right now. The total credit card debt in America is $1 trillion. There's more student loan debt than there is credit card debt.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you. Who's saying that? Well, thank you. Thank you very much. See, that ought to astonish you. But they take it out to get a better job. Right. So you have to what? Borrow money to get a job.
Hopefully.
And then you hope to pay it back. We like to say having student loans, it's like buying a house you can never live in, but you have to make the payments. The worst thing you can do for kids is say, take out student loans. Find ways to avoid junior college, doing something, classes online, doing something to avoid those student loans because you can't get rid of them. Well, any single guys here? Good. I got this girl I want you to meet. She is seriously a knockout, the most prettiest blue eyes, make your heart melt. Interested?
Oh, yeah.
She's got. I'm going to change that in about 10 seconds. She's got $170,000 student loans. What do you think now? What changed? I thought it was love. What changed? See, the point I'm making is that what chance, you got to look at that when you're thinking about dating. Can I ask you a question? You're awfully cute. Do you have any student loans? Yeah. So a guy gets married. His average payment is $350 a month. He marries a girl $350 a month. $700 a month after taxes. So $900 a month, and you see no value in it. There's no value that you can see because you took a stupid course. All right? There you go. And you say, well, but he had to borrow money to take a stupid course like language.
Yeah.
I'm negative on languages. Why? What do you need a language? Anybody here using your language on a daily basis? That's very good. What language is it?
English.
English. Thank you. You got me. But here's the point. Which of these two are going to give you freedom of time and money?
1% off of 100.
Yet, how many hours a week are you putting into 100% off one, and you'll never have freedom of time and freedom of money? Now, what's our business like? You have to understand that. Our business is just like real estate. So think of real estate, right? How does real estate work? You have an agent. An agent's job is to what? Sell a house. Now, agents don't sell houses, they solve problems. This person wants a house and they've got kids and they solve that problem. Again, there is no sales, they're just problem solving. If someone's a salesman and not a problem solver, you're buying something you don't need with money you don't have to shut him up. And so an agent on a $100,000 house will make about $3,000 with that house being sold, correct? Now, how does a person get into real estate? you can't just go into real estate. You have to have a sponsoring brokerage, a broker. And so they have a broker. And now why would a person want to be a broker and train you? Because every time you sell a house, they make $3,000, but you make $2,000. So it's $5,000. If a broker sold the house, he'd make $5,000. You got that? But he makes $2,000, and he wants freedom of time and money. That's why you become a broker. Because if you're going to be in real estate, would you rather be an agent or a broker? Why? Because you're earning money without having to be there, so you have time. So you're getting the money, and you're not having to put the time in. It's like when you go to McDonald's. You ever go to McDonald's? You ever see the owner there?
No.
Well, where is he? He's got to be working. He's doing what he wants to do because he's got plenty of time and he's making money at the same time. See that? So if you're going to be in real estate, you'd rather be a broker than an agent, correct? Why? Because you can make money off the efforts of other people, which gives you time and money. Now, if you're going to be in real estate and be a broker, how many agents would you want? Now, why is that an important question? Because the more agents you have, the more what? And the more. If you have just one agent, you have all the time in the world? All the money in the world? If you had 20 agents, you have all the what? A lot more time and money, correct? If you don't work Monday, you're still making money? If you don't work this week, you're still making money? See, that's the reason you want to have an income coming off the efforts of other people. J. Paul Getty said 100% off one, it's better to have 1% off 100. Warren Buffett said, if you don't have money coming in while you sleep, you're going to have to work until the day you die. Now, which of these two you're going to have to work until the day you die? 100% off one or 1% off 100? Now, why wouldn't anybody choose 100% off one when you can't have freedom of time and money and you're going to have to work until the day you die? But you think, and I was talking to people today, because no one considers themselves a gambler. But you know how much gambling you're doing?
A lot.
Every day. When you take out student loans, what are you doing? You're gambling that student loan is going to pay off down the road for you. When you go to work for a company at 100% off one, what are you gambling? That you'll always have a job of some sort working for somebody, and you've never heard, obviously, of aging out. The largest area of discrimination in America today is age. Use an example. You have a plumbing problem. I've got this friend of mine. He'd be good to call. He's a 90-year-old plumber. How many people want? See, that's discrimination, isn't it? 90-year-olds don't work. See, you're just, see, isn't that funny? As you get older, mechanic is 85. No, thank you. So we all have it, and one day it's going to be you. One day you're going to be saying, they're too old. They are obsolete. They are, what happens when you're not keeping up with the technology? What do they call that? Dinosaurs. Or, and you're not, your information is old. Irrelevant. That's good. The point is that if you're a broker and you have income coming off the efforts of other people, you'll never be irrelevant. You'll never be a dinosaur. You keep making money. But then we have a broker's broker called Century 21. They started Century 21 not to hire and train agents, but to develop brokers who have the agents. So if you're going to be in real estate, would you rather be a broker or Century 21? Why? Because you make money, you have more time and more money, and you make off the efforts of other people, and you're making money what? While you sleep. That's got to be important to you. Yeah. I'm making money like tonight. You know how many meetings like tonight are going on that I override? Hundreds. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to have thousands of people in training tomorrow morning around the United States. So think about that. Tomorrow, I've got thousands of representatives that are going to be solving people's problems tomorrow. I've got millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and assets under management, which I get a fee every quarter. And I'm not even there, and I'm not even talking to those people. So again, if you're going to be in real estate, you're going to be a broker, right? I mean, Century 21, how many brokers? Because the more you get, the more time you have available for yourself, and the more money you make. People say, what are you selling at Prime America? Time and money. If you don't want more time and more money, we don't have anything for you. We're not here to get you to be a salesperson, because why? Salesmen have no time, they have no money. You have to move from being a salesperson to being a multiplier. Now, our business is just like real estate. Because in real estate, you have agents, we have reps. A representative solves people problem. How do we get our clients? I get a book you need to read. It's a financial warning against financial illiteracy. If you read this book, you'll never make a financial mistake. How hard is that to get an appointment? Who doesn't need to read the book? And if they say, I'm not interested in your book, does that solve their problems now? They got the rule of 72. They've got a mutual fund. They're paying themselves first. They have the right kind of... None of their problems are solved. You just stuck your head further into the sand. By the way, if you ever read a book called Yatu called The Wealth Choice, it's a masterpiece by Dennis Kimbrough. I've just finished reading it for the 6th time. You know what he says? The number one cause of poverty in America is financial illiteracy. And you know what he said? You're one bad decision away from being financially impoverished yourself. Don't think, I got it. No. We're all susceptible to dumb mistakes. Right? Yeah. So a rep makes $400, right? Now watch this. If you pass out 2 books to a friend, 2 friends, right? Now, how many friends you got in your cell phone? Are you married, sir? Is that your wife?
My fiance.
You bet. You know when you tell her you love her? Yeah, I can't believe you're not married yet. Because there's probably another guy waiting in the wings saying, if he doesn't want her, I'll take her. He can wait?
He can wait a long time.
The point is, you got 100 names in your cell phone. She's got 100 names in their cell phone. Now, why do you have those people in your cell phone? Well, you know these people. Why? You don't even know their phone numbers. You just know their names. So what that means is you've got 200 people between you that you can give books out to. So let's just assume, right, they want to get married, but it's going to cost them a lot of money to get married, but they've got 200 names in their cell phone. You get 100 books to your friends. You get 100 books to your friends. That's 200 friends. How many clients' solutions will you generate? About 75. Well, that's $75,000 in premium at 50%. That's about $40,000 in income to you in the next 6 months.
Woo! That's great. Come on.
And by the way, how many books did you pass out? 200? But you made 40,000? What's 240,000? $200 per book. Every time you pass out a book, you're going to make about $200. Or you can go down to Wendy's and $18 an hour or something, right? So now what? So you're probably saying, but Bill, I can make money as a rep because people need this. We're solving their problem. But Bill, I got a problem of my own. What's my problem? Time and money. That's a problem I want to solve. Put that to bed once and for all. Well, guess what? Much like in real estate, we don't have brokers, we have managers. Managers, every time one of his reps generate a solution for you Prime America people, when you get licensed, guess what they send you? A number. What's that number called? Maybe a hint? We solve problems. All right? So again, Broderick, if you're going to be in Prime America, you would rather be a rep or a manager? Why? You don't want to work. You talk about laziest person in this room is right here. Because why I don't work. I make more money than most of you combined, and I don't work. Ain't that something? You know why? Because I've solved the problem of time and money by having what? People. And I'll talk about Primerica People Mutual Fund in a second. Guess what now? How many do you want? As many as you can get, because the more people you have, the more time you have with your family and doing the stuff and things in life you want to do, and what? More money. Where else can you go to get that? You can't. But then we have people called RVPs. They make $400. Got the point? And how many managers would you want? Many as I can get. Could you imagine how much time and money you have if you had 10 RVPs with what? 5 RLs each? Got the point? You're making lots of money, aren't you? Yeah. And what do you have to do for that money? Nothing. Do you have to show up on appointments? No. Just keep your licenses active. That's all it is to it. And have an office that you can go to. That is the genius of our system. Now, let me show you how Primerica works and how we're going to get those 100 people for you. We're going to get those 100 people for you. Why? Because no one's ever introduced anyone to the 1% off 100 concept. The interesting thing about life is you have to decide how you want to make your money. See, you trade time for money, don't you? I'm going to put my 40 hours this week so I can get my paycheck. You don't go to work because you love it. You go because that's where the paychecks are. Isn't it funny? You got to drive an hour in terrible traffic to go to some place, and you don't want to be there forever? So every day you're there, you're what? You're losing a day of your life. You're not investing it at all. I want to explain something. Primerica, we talked about Primerica mutual funds, put people money in mutual funds. Primerica has another mutual fund called a Primerica People Mutual Fund. Dan, thank you very much. What does that mean? You put people into our People Mutual Fund, and one day those people start making money for you. Just like I put money in a mutual fund, so that money I put in will one day be making money for me. Got the point? Yep. Yeah. See, we've got an answer to fill the gap of where you are right now to 100% off one. So in the next 2 years, it's 1% off 100. See, a lot of people buy into, I'm going to work hard for 45 years. Work hard and long for 45 years at a variety of different companies. Correct? So that one day I can retire and enjoy about 5 years. Go down to Boca. Go down to Port Charlotte. But what happens is, try water skiing at 68. Try snow skiing at 70. See, look in the mirror and say, this is as good as it's going to get. I've got to start making the next 5 years count, not the last 5 years. So what we want to do is 5 years. Then you call us up and say, Bill, you know where Belize is? Yeah? Send my checks to Belize. I got all the time and all the money I want. I built my Primerica People Mutual Fund, and now that investment of people are generating an income to me for the rest of my life. Anybody here in Asaad's group? Raise your hand. Great. Where is he? Asaad. What's he doing tonight? He's not here. He makes $1 million a year. He's not even here. But see, the point is, don't you want to be an Asaad? See, the reason is Asaad and you're not, he put people in the Primerica People Mutual Fund. So guess what happens? If you put people in the Primerica People Mutual Fund, like Virginia Carter did, she put me in. And guess what I did? Bill came in, and Bill said, I want my own Primerica People Mutual Fund. And guess what I started doing, Eugene? I started putting people in, and her fund became this now. So every time I put people in, it was people going into her people mutual fund too. As an example, Andre, I got a mutual fund at home. I'm putting money in monthly. Would you please put money in my mutual fund with me? No. Why? But you know something? If I help her hire 3 or 4 people, those people now become part of my mutual fund, my people. And then I help those people, like Gerald, right? Start hiring people. That becomes part of Virginia's and mine. And Gerald, what? He's got people helping him with his people mutual fund. So much like a mutual fund, a dollar mutual fund, the more money you put in, the faster you can stop working. The more people you put into Prime America People Mutual Fund, you don't have to work, because why? We don't get people, we beget people. The Bible beget, right? So let me show you how to get your 100 people in 6 months. Using something, thank you very much, Tharman, because he brought this out to my attention several years ago. People don't understand the power of compounding. Because if they did, they would use it. And if you're not using the power of compounding, you don't understand it, and it cannot be used to your advantage. Compounding is the 9th wonder of the world, and the only way most people use it for is with investments. They multiply their return on their investment money, but they never use it with people. So what happens is they first got to understand the power of compounding, and that first can be illustrated with something called the Rule of 72. The Rule of 72 says you take your interest rate of 12%, divide it into 72, that means 6. That means any money you invest today, if you're 30 years old, you invest $10,000, you leave it there for 6 years. Now here's the point. How long would it take you to earn, pay taxes on, and accumulate $10,000? 5 years, right? At least. Watch this. And you stop investing. And you call us up and say, how much money do I have in that mutual fund? The Rule of 72, at age 36, you have $20,000. Now you're getting $10,000 and you didn't do anything for it. That's, again, if you have to work until the day you die, that's because of 100% off one, your money is working as hard for you as you're working for it. Now we want the hierarchy to be working as hard for you as you're working for the hierarchy.
Right.
People are not getting this. The greatest thing we've got going is the Primerica People Mutual Fund, not our investments, not rollovers, right? So guess what happens now? 42, you got 40,000. Then 80, 160, right? 320, 640, 2.4 million. All from the $10,000 you didn't have to do anything in between. If I were to start a mutual fund, it'd be called a moron fund. Even a moron who puts $10,000 where you worth 2.4 million, they don't touch it. That's the 9th wonder of the world working for you. What other areas? And people with their financial illiteracy. How many people in this room before Primerica were taking advantage of the Rule of 72? But now, aren't you kicking yourself? Yeah. That's what a 401k does, by the way. It takes advantage of the Rule of 72. That's how you stay illiterate, keeps you broke. But then, we also have another example. It's called a penny a day compounding daily. If you had $1 million cash in investments right now, would you rather have the $1 million, or I can put you into one that a penny a day, doubling every day for 30 days? You know the answer is the penny. Why? Because the penny doubling every day, 1 penny, 2 penny, 4 pennies, 8 pennies, 16, 32, 64, right? The power of compounding. $5 million the 30th day. See, are you using compounding in your life other than, but it's a gift given to us because it works. See, we know it works financially, but it takes you years. Now we're going to talk about the power of compounding people. Think about a people mutual fund, where you can put all the people in there you want, and you can help them put people in, and whatever people they put in counts for your mutual fund too. And whatever people their people put in counts for your mutual fund too. Like right now, today, we got 1,000 new people joining my business. Every year. Every month, I mean. 1,000 new people a month joining. They're joining my, people mutual fund. Because they want a chance to start their own people mutual fund too. So what? That's what they've got to do. So here's how it all works. Again, our job, most people think time. I don't have the time because they want more time and they want more money, but they know that you can't have that. To get more time and more money, you got to put more hours in, and that eliminates the money with the time. See, in Primerica, the more money you're making, the less time you put in. There's nobody that works less in this room than me. I do nothing for a living, but my money keeps coming in because it's coming in off the efforts of other people. The founder of our company said, when my income came off of me, I made thousands. Can you relate? Because you're it. You're the lone soldier. You're it. You don't work, you don't get paid, right? I got to go to work. Oh, I owe, so off to work I go. He said, when my income came off of others, I made millions. It's amazing how many people refuse ardently not to have income coming off the efforts of other people. Yet, where does Bill Gates make all his money?
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh. And how does the McDonald's owner make all their money? And how does your boss make all his money? It's amazing how you kill yourself to make your boss money, but you don't want what your boss has. Like a guy goes to work one day, his boss puts his arm around him and says, hey, son, they call you son. I tell you, one day, I want you to imagine a Jaguar and a Mercedes in a driveway. Imagine an 8,000 square foot house. Imagine a condominium down in Boca. Imagine country club membership. Imagine your kids in the finest schools. Imagine European vacations once a year. And if you work really, really hard, son, really, really hard, that'll all be mine. And what do? Okay, boss. Okay. We kill for our bosses so they'll have more time. They'll have more money. And then guess what they do? And when they let us go, we're shocked. I was telling Daryl, there's takers, givers, and takers. Everybody's a giver thinking if I give and give and give, the company will give back. Companies are takers. Don't blame, just trust me. If you had a yard guy who cut your grass and he died, would you continue to pay the widow? No. You'd get another yard guy, right? See, we expect companies to be different. The point is, you've got to find ways to multiply yourself and have the efforts of other people. And you've never been taught that. Just like we have the rule of 72, just like we have the penny a day, we have something called the power of three. It's a what? Primerica People Mutual Fund staple. As you put money into a mutual fund, it will multiply. If you put people into the Primerica People Mutual Fund, it will multiply. And the power and the rule of three are good examples. And here's the way it works. You got 100 people in your cell phone that need this book. And some of those people have a problem. You know what their problem is? They want time and money, they can't get it. Maybe you don't. But your time is coming when you wish you did. I can't tell you how many people said, I wish I could have retired 5 years earlier. I wish I could have had the ability to take more time off. Right now, I read an article yesterday, 2/3 of all Americans have a plan at least in their minds of leaving their jobs this year. They want to leave their jobs. They're not all happy. I love my job. You know what? Anyone that says that is married to a person that hates their job. And the only reason you're there is because she hates her job and you can keep yours. But if you love your job, just wait. A new boss will come in. Something's going to change. The circumstances will change, and you're not going to be happy. There is no happy ever after with 100% off one. There is none. You think there is, because that's what you sold the bill of goods. I wouldn't borrow $100,000 either if I didn't believe there was happily ever after. But Art Williams said, here's you, right? And you got a cell phone. And I sit down with you for a cup of coffee. And I share with you our power of our system. I'm not looking for people who don't want more time or more money. I have nothing to offer them. They've got a problem they don't even know they have.
Right.
One day they're going to say, you know, I wish I had more time. I wish I had more money. But now when you can have both, they didn't take advantage of it. Watch this. Don't you have at least 3 people on your cell phone that would want this book?
Yes.
Now, the only 2 ways to do it. Well, I tell people, text your 3 friends right now that you want to have this book and text them these 2 words, call me. Is that pretty hard?
No.
What will they do? So guess what you should be doing before you leave the parking lot today? Text 3 people as you're leaving, call me. And they'll call you and say, what's up? What's going on? They want to know, right? I got a book you need to read. Let's get together tomorrow for 5 or 10 minutes, and you read this book, you'll never make another financial mistake. How can they say no? Because they say, no, I'm good, which means what? They're going to make all the financial mistakes because they're financially illiterate just like you are. Or were, right? You were. But guess what's going to happen? We're going to meet with these 3 people. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to show them 100% off one, 1% off 100. We're going to show them how they can have time and money. And guess who they got in their cell phone? 3 people. See how this Primerica People Mutual Fund is working? You just put in 3, but now how many do you have? 12. You only put in 3, but now you got 12. That rate of return is 300%. But then guess what? We meet with these people here. Guess what we do? Same thing. They got 3 people on their cell phone. The 3 becomes 9, becomes 27, becomes 81. That's 110 people. You have in your Primerica People Mutual Fund. You only had to put in 3. Now you may have to put in 6. We got a guy named Jimmy Myers, put in 20. And his income right now off those 20 people is $1.8 million a year. And they're all in his cell phone at one time.
Wow.
And of the 20, only 3 serious ones. Like Virginia Carter called me, met with me. I made her $20 million. And I was in her cell phone in today's vocabulary. You got wealth in your cell phones. You can never say, I never had a chance in my life. You got them in your cell phone. And we got a book they need to read. How hard is it? You got the Super Bowl coming, right?
Yeah.
How much money are you going to make Sunday? And trust me, 5 years from now, you don't even remember who was playing. Because who played in the Super Bowl last year? Oh, I don't know. I think Brady won it, didn't he? I don't know. Here's the point. How can your life change the next 24 hours? By changing somebody else's life. See, that's how you can change your life. You see, you got 100 people, and if only 20 of those people bring solutions to their friends, every month you're making $4,000 a month come next July. Now, here's the point. Most people look at Primerica as this. Well, here's Bill, and here am I, here's John, and Bill wants me to come work for him. No, no, no. I want to work for you, John. We build Primerica People Mutual Funds for people. We build it for you, and you what? Introduce us to those people. We don't recruit, we don't sell, we what? Introduce. We invite to take advantage of this thing. Now, what I like to tell people, do you want to go home and wonder whether or not this works for you, or would you rather have me prove it to you? Guess what people are going to say? Would you rather have me do, sir? Great. Give me text 3 people right now. Call me, give me the phone, or give me the names, I'll call them. Anybody ever offer to go work for you before? For free? Well, we're doing this all day long right now. We're offering us to go work for you. You know, one of the things that hit me the other day, how fleeting life is. We all know that last weekend with Kobe Bryant. Just had his life snuffed out just like that. I was telling some people Bible study. Last Friday, how many people who are 41 would have loved to have changed lives with Kobe Bryant? $600 million net worth, great family. I mean, adulated, records, greatest basketball player, right? But how many would trade places with him on Monday? And here's the point. He lived a wild life. You know how many of us are not even close to living a wild life? You look back on your life, and if you were to tell me what you've done, where you've been, what you've accomplished, would I say, wow? Or, no. See, don't you want a wow? We're supposed to have a wow life. You know, that's why I asked people, I said, do you want your children to grow up and do for a living what you do?
No.
Then why are you doing it? But see, that's all we know because we're stuck in a place. I remember when I left, flunked out of college and I went to work in a steel company, I flunked out again. I went back to school again, flunked out again, I went back. And as I walked in, all the guys in that department said, what are you doing here? I thought you got out, because they wanted me to get out. They wanted me to escape. They didn't want me to live the life they've lived. And I said, I won't be here long. They said, to the man, they all said the same thing. That's what we all said 20, 25 years ago, and we're still here. Wow. And they're not living a wild life. Anymore, it's wow when we're shocked at something. It's not wow when we look at something. So I just put down some of the things that we ought to be thinking about to have a wow life. Don't you want a wow life? I got onto this. I went to, Carol and I went to Hawaii on a company trip, and I think Royal Hawaiian or one of those, and we were on the first floor, but they had rooms on the below us, right, on the sea level or ground level. And underneath was a guy named Mike Landrum. He's a big income, $1 million earner in Primerica. And on this trip, he invited his mother and his father. And they were underneath sitting on that little area. And the father said, Mike, I never thought I'd make it to Hawaii. I've never seen palm trees. And when you've ever been to Hawaii, there's a fragrance there that there, yes, and the sea and the flowers and the aromas are, I mean, they just captivate your senses. And he said, Mike, I wasn't sure what this would turn out for you and your family, but all I can say, wow. How would you like to hear that as a child from your parents? So I put together some wows because I believe your family deserves wow, and you're the only one that can give it to them. And we all deserve a wild life. I want to take my family to this wonderful resort and have them say, wow. Have you ever had your family say, wow? Wow. It takes your breath away. Because you took them someplace that no other families could go to. I want to attempt something in my life that other people had a hard time doing. And when I accomplished it, they looked at me with admiration and said, wow. I want to buy my wife something she didn't think we could afford, buy it for her, have her put it on or have her put it on her finger, look in the mirror, then turn to me and say, wow. I want my parents to see what I have achieved, shake their heads, tears in their eyes, look at me and say, you did it, wow. I want take my parents on a trip of a lifetime, let them see something they never thought they'd see, smell the aromas in the plants, eat fabulous food, hug me, look at me in the eye, and just with tears in their eyes say, wow. I want to travel around the world and look at places I only dreamed of, and when I got there, I would say, wow. Until you've been to Europe, until you've seen these incredible, incredible places. We went to Spain recently, and we went to this church in Spain. Wow. I mean, it was one of the most spiritually religious experiences I've had just walking in a place. But you had to be there. I want God to look at what I've accomplished with my life, how I lived it, how I served others, and say, well done, good and faithful servant, and one other thing. Wow. I want to create something I can leave behind, because there's a thought. The purpose of life isn't to live forever, but to build and create something that does. Is what you're doing right now going to be handed down to your children and your children's children, children's children? Or are you just putting in your 40 years and thank you very much, the old gold watch, and next up, please? I want to create something I can leave behind, and after I'm gone, when those I love see all that is now theirs, I want them to think of me and shake their heads and say, wow, like Virginia Carter's children is today. I want my wife to look at the man she married, the Christian man that I had become, how I loved her, how I loved and treated our children, how I honored and respected her, delivered for her, gave her the finest life she deserved, took her places she only dreamed of going, how I adored her, treated her as a husband should, made her proud, financially provided beyond her dreams, made the money that allowed her to stay at-home mom, and hear her look at me and say, with respect, and say, wow, what a life you've given me. You see, your family deserves the wow only you can provide for them. See, the Primerica People Mutual Fund is a wow fund. And you got to be thinking about, what can I do to have all the time and the money I want? Because when you get there, guess what you're going to say? Wow, I knew it was great, but I never realized it'd be this great. Wow. So tomorrow morning we're getting together at 9 to 12. I'm having some more training classes, and I hope you meet there. And so we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you. Thank you. Hey.